Ross, you're
I
muted.
gotta hit the button. It wants me to hit the
Happens to me
button.
15 times a day.
No, it's because you guys got the auto record going.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
do. So I don't forget.
So we go
Can
right
you
into it.
imagine?
Yo, we
Going
go
through
right
a-
into it.
Like we're diving
going-
deep already.
Yep.
Yeah. Going
You
through a
like-
whole interview and then you're like, I forgot to record it. Yeah, we just jump right in. So why
Oh.
don't we start with your journey, your younger days, where you started, your transition, your learning, and where you are today, and then your new business ventures today.
Okay, so wait, so you're gonna ask me questions in between there, or am I just telling a story?
Sure. Yeah, we'll interrupt you. Don't worry.
You're gonna have to you're gonna have to pull it out of me here.
Yeah, we can do that. So
Um,
your early years.
So early years, I grew up in San Pedro, California, born in Long Beach Memorial Hospital. So kind of living there, overlooking the LA and Long Beach port. About like 12 years old, moved to Newport Beach, so my dad could be closer to work. And that's where we kind of got into, having a lot of extracurricular activity fun. You know,
I
like-
see.
yeah. And so just wasn't like the greatest kid, they thought I had the ADD stuff or whatever, but really it was just school was boring, more so than anything else. They just couldn't keep my attention, the teachers, right? Some of them could, but most of them couldn't. Went after being a little crazy there, I went to third world country to live for a year, Samoa.
Oh,
That's cool.
I mean, yeah, it'd be cool if I just got to go to Samoa, but I went to a therapeutic rehab for kids who were bad. And you go to an island because you can't run away from an island.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have to say
that
I've
was the
never
bad
heard
joke.
of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this piece. So you're on an island for rehab for kids.
Yeah, for troubled teens, like you're getting into drugs, you're doing crazy stuff, you're breaking things. You're just like the stuff that everybody goes through in adolescence, right? Like if you're not just straight total square, right? I mean, everyone kind of challenges the system and does something, right? A little bit off the beaten path, right? These are the kids who did it a couple times and then already went to trouble and then got in trouble. And then now this is like some of the parents' last resort, right? Like there was one kid that was there for over 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Like I came and I went before that guy got out. I was like, dude, just work the program, man, and get out. So met some interesting characters there. Saw a kid get taken away to a mental institution because he went catatonic. That was crazy.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was faking it though, to be honest. I've tried to look for him because I remember his name to this day, but I haven't been able to find him on social media.
Okay.
But I don't remember where he's from or nothing like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
so after that, boarding school in upstate New York, outside Albany. That was cool. I got to snowboard for PE in the winter and then play soccer in the fall and lacrosse in the spring.
Man, the coolest thing I ever got to do is scoot on those little scooter things where you get on your butt and scoot across the gym floor. Never got to snowboard.
Yeah, that was part of the reason why I went there, because it was either that or I played ice hockey growing up in SoCal. And so one of the schools back east that I went to go look at was like, well, yeah, you can come and be on our team, but we want you as a second semester freshman. And I'm like, well, I'm supposed to be a second semester senior, so I don't want to redo high school.
Yeah.
Just to play hockey, So I was like, yeah, that's all the way out. And then another school was like, oh, we could take you as a second semester sophomore, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that either.
Mm-hmm.
So found this school, and they're like, we'll take you as a second semester junior, and it also was a boarding school that it was co-ed, so it had girls, and it had snowboarding for PE in the winter. So sold, sign me up.
That is so cool.
And then I went to college in Hartford, University of Hartford, there just outside of West Hartford. Fast forward, let's see, after college.
Lots of partying, I'm assuming.
Yeah, some partying. I did 1 year in college, and then tried to transfer back and just didn't really make it happen. Went to work for a clothing company, and that's kind of where like I sparked my interest about screen printing and digital printing. So my brother also worked in the warehouse, and we were talking to the garment provider, the guy who provided the fabric, and we were like, we're looking at starting our own company. He's like, well, you don't want to be the person who creates the clothing company because they're a dime a dozen. You want to be the person that prints the clothes, makes the clothes for the people. So we went into research doing that and how to do it. And we were about to set up a company, me, my brother, and my dad, a family business in Santa Ana, California. And it turned out that my dad worked with a dude who was married to a guy that was selling one in Washington. And so we went and checked it out to kind of see like what the deal was. Could we learn from these guys? Just because it was a kind of a connection, right? A far off distant connection or whatever. And we started to enter talks to buy the business from them. And they had customers like Nike, Helly Hansen, Alphanumeric, PNB, Mecca, and a few other brands that people would know. So I basically apprenticed under the one owner for just over half a year, working with Nike and all these different clients, and learn how to do artwork and printing and all the processes and all that stuff. Right before that, I think is when my dad got diagnosed with cancer. So him and my mom eventually moved up there when I was up there with my brother, and we were working. And then the deal kind of fell through because these guys wanted twice as much money as the company was actually worth. So that fell through, and I'm like, all right, where's the next best place? I don't want to move back down to California. So I found Vegas, moved to Vegas, and that was 20 years ago. So my goal was to start a printing company, do the same thing that I was doing up there that I learned, and do it down here. I worked for a printer out here for a bit, and then eventually I went to a screen printing trade show out here and bought some equipment, and then started the business. I thought it was going to be like a family business and we're all going to get involved, but it ended up being just me, which is fine. And then that went well until the crash in 2008. I didn't have a client for 9 months.
Wow.
That's rough.
Business, yeah. So I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. So I went back to work and driving a dump truck. That's what I did prior to opening the business for a landscape company out here in Vegas. And then finally got the business open. Crash happened, and then all of a sudden work started picking up, and then it just got busier and busier and busier and busier. And it got to the point where I don't even turn work away. So I've kind of worked at pretty much every casino on the strip, shows, this, that, the other thing, printing, whatever for gift shops and Chauncey, shipping stuff all over the world for tech companies and stuff. So it was a lot of fun, did a lot of cool things. And then my dad died, and I kind of just went off the rails and ended up in prison for a year for having too much shrooms and acid at my house.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the jail time.
It's not jail, it's prison.
Oh, sorry.
Most people don't know. So
I had no idea.
Jail is county, and that's where you go to await trial or for a crime that's lesser than a year worth of time or 18 months sometimes, depending upon how severe the crime is. So if it's a really light, misdemeanor type crime, but they want to lock you up for a bit because you've done it 5 times, they'll just probably leave you in the county for a little bit if they have the room. If not, you're going upstate.
Yeah.
Prison is upstate, run by the state usually, or it's private, and that's where that's the big boys arena. That's where all the gangs are and the drugs and all the crazy stuff, right? County is just people are in and out of there left and right.
Yeah.
In Vegas, I guess it's I want to say it's a month, but it could be a day. I think it's a month, 8,000 people in and out of the county jail.
Wow.
Some crazy number out here.
I feel like I don't know anybody that knows that difference.
That's a
Well,
good thing,
yeah,
actually.
I guess
listen,
that's a good thing.
it's not a bad thing, right?
No, I just think I have never even thought about that. I just thought they were synonymous, like their name was the same, but
Yeah, no.
yeah, they learned something new. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even in like the Wild West, right? You had the jailer where the sheriff was. That was the jail, and then those guys got
Yeah.
sent to prison or
Huh.
working, right?
Yeah.
Same deal.
So
like,
how was life? How was life in prison? What did you do to waste the time away?
So prison, like you've probably seen like Oz or some show, or Shawshank Redemption or something, right? Like where there's prison and stuff. It's definitely not like it's in the movies. It's not like it's talked about in regular conversations, right? It's a pretty gnarly, intense place. So you're always having to watch your back. I guess I kind of lucked out getting into a fight right away because it just made the time easier. So
Did you go to solitary?
yeah, so basically if you're low level, they'll end up sending you to camp. So like I was basically getting ready to go to camp. And that's where you like a work program and you have more room and space and you're not, just behind bars the whole time, right? So because you're low risk level. Because that was my first time going to prison, right?
Yeah.
Like first and last time going to prison.
There you go. I like that.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm getting to camp. I just got to another couple days here. After the fish tank is kind of where you get processed and you're classified. And so you're just kind of waiting, because if you're high risk, then they're going to send you straight to high level. If you're low risk, then they'll send you to a lower spot. So you do that first, and they call it the fish tank. It's about 30 days, and then you're off to where you're classified. So I was at the low level prison, where you got more space and there's a gym and stuff that you can actually do, and you can get jobs and shit. And it's I got a job in the kitchen like right away, and then I know I'm going to camp, so I'm like, all right, cool, I'm set. And I got money on my books so I can pay for like goodies and stuff, and then I'll be able to go get another job up there because I already started to work for the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Then got into a fight, and because there was like a race riot or something and a bunch of people died like recently, like right before I got to prison, like I don't know, like 7 or 8 people got stabbed and killed in a fight. And so at that campus prison, they instituted, if any violence happens, then you're getting shipped up to maximum security. So I got in the fight, and it took them like, I don't know, 3-4 months to send me up to the maximum security. So I was just sat in solitary, literally was in prison for only about 6 weeks, was in the fish tank where you're by yourself, then there for 2 weeks with a cellie, and then off to solitary. So, and that was like, that's the way to do it.
You like,
the time was easy in solitary.
really?
A lot of people go bonkers, but you have books.
Okay, so what kind of things can you do in solitary that people don't know about? Because I know I don't do well alone. So like I would probably end up talking to myself.
People do talk to themselves.
I need to talk to someone.
You're not alone, because you got the cell next to you on the side, and then you can see 3 across from you, right? So like everyone hops up, and like you look out your window and you're like doing hand signs, to like spell, and so the guards can't hear what you're saying, or you're going out the door and shoot notes back and forth, kites. Prison notes are called kites, and you fly a kite to a dude, right?
I always thought that you couldn't see or hear or have any contact with anybody.
No, there was windows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like even
So you can read
like,
books and stuff too?
Yeah, so like the library comes in once a week, and then everybody who's got books from like care packages, right? So like everybody, that's books, send books. That's what everybody wants. So like everyone's just trading books, and at one point I think I had like 18 books stacked up in my room that I like had gone through. Cool. And then as I was leaving to go up to the maximum security, I'm like, I threw him in front of another dude's door, so he had access to the books.
Cool.
Any favorite books that you read while you were in solitary?
Into the Wild was cool.
Okay.
It's a good movie. Yeah. I've never read the book though.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie.
I've very sad.
I've read more books than I've seen of books that are movies.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's like I started reading like when I was in Samoa, so like that was the same thing. Like out there, it was like if you weren't doing schoolwork, which like I basically graduated there and I was ahead of the deal, so I was just reading books most of the time. right? So like I went through
Awesome.
almost their entire library of like Tom Clancy and Dean Koontz and all that kind of fictional type stuff, because that's not really all they had there. But in prison, you got like biography books and like stories and self-help books and astrology, and so Nietzsche. There's all kinds of
What what's like the most popular genre of book? Do people like to read fiction books or personal development? Like what do people actually really
it's
enjoy
all
getting?
personal development. Like
Okay.
everyone likes to read personal development, and then like there's a couple
Yeah.
like was it? I want to say Danny Bonaducci, but it's not him. It's like
Oh, David
David
Baldacci.
Baldacci.
yeah,
Robin loves David Baldacci.
yeah. So
I
like
do.
there's a ton of his books going around in solitary.
No, I need to get on this train. I still have not read any of his stuff.
It's good.
Interesting.
That's very good.
Yeah. So, I mean that I'm trying to think. There's like 2 or 3 other authors that people really liked, and always ask for those books. So it's like sometimes you just can't get the book from the library because those are the ones that are out all the time, right?
Is that something that like we could donate to? Is that something?
Oh yeah. So
people
like when
donate to
when I
all
got
the
out, I shipped off like all the old books that I've already read.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have so
So
many books that I think I could ship somewhere.
Yeah. Like the local prison, even the jail will take them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely
Very cool.
they need the books. So
Yeah.
They don't
So-
get funded for nothing.
So you got out of solitary, and then where did you go?
So I didn't get out of solitary. I went to maximum security. So like the maximum security facility in the network of prisons for Nevada. So like the Department of Corrections, Nevada Department of Corrections. So up to Ely in like northeast Nevada. So like when I got there and you hop out the bus, it's just snow on the ground. You're like at 7,000 feet elevation. I'm like, where the hell am I, dude? Like, I knew the place because I had been there camping before and like dirt bike riding and stuff. But like, I mean, where we were is like totally different, right? It's like you're out in the woods and there's, big open space and you're kind of in like a little like crater type bowl valley area, so they can see all around. And then you got the prison just kind of hanging out there. Snow on the ground. And I think I was in Gen Pop for like, I had been like 3-4 days. And then my cellie tried to stab me. So I had to defend myself, and then ended up with 4 stitches, nothing major, and then went back to solitary. And then when I got to maximum after the stabbing, I was on my own for a minute, and then I ended up with another cellie that had to be in that like cordoned off area, and he was a cool like young kid, but 24-year-old kid that kind of like. His life's pretty much over. He'd already been to prison like 3 times.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Did you make any friends? Like, did any of your cellmates end up becoming friends with you, or?
I don't talk to anybody from the prison, but like I considered 1 or 2 dudes while I was in there friends.
Right. Like at the time,
Yeah.
like you felt comfortable enough where they were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like me and my last cellie, the young kid, like we got along pretty well, and we were working out together and
Nice.
making booze together, and just having a blast. Right?
so that is a real thing, making booze in prison?
Yeah, I did it while I was in solitary at the other prison as well too, but I got busted there twice.
Ross.
We actually one of the other dudes, like he thought that the guard like saw something, so he's like, hey man, like when they're doing their shift change or whatever, you like take the stuff over into your cell. All right, well, no problem. So we're locked up, right? And like the only space is at the bottom of your door. And at that prison they put like metal bars of steel, like a plate steel at the bottom of the door, so it didn't have the giant like 2-inch crack under it. So you only had like a 1/4-inch crack. But the side of the door between the wall, you had like a little 4x2 pocket you could slip stuff out of, a small book or something like that, right? So he takes this trash bag that's filled with probably like 2.5 gallons of liquid, right? That's fermenting.
Yeah.
It's in a big trash bag, right? And we throw our cars out, and which a car is like some kind of heavy, slim object. Like usually you take like your toothpaste and you stuff it with like soap and then crush it down and smash it. And then let it harden, that kind of like, and then you make rope and string, tie it to that, and then that's your car, and you can slide it to the other prison cells, right? And then he catches it, and then you can pass it back and forth. So like you pass food that way, you pass books,
How do you
everything.
how do you hide a trash bag full of liquid that big?
Like under your bed or in your clothes, or like,
Oh, I guess that
maybe
makes sense.
like some people had like some people had like their boxes or like their belongings and stuff down there.
Oh,
So
I
like
just oh, go. Sorry, didn't mean
yeah,
to.
go ahead.
Oh no, I just assumed that like the under the bed would be the first place anyone would look.
Well, yeah, but so since you're in solitary, there is no interaction with the prisoners unless you're taking a shower or you're going to discipline. So you're literally just in that cell, like you're either going to get a shower, you're going to discipline, or you can do yard time, which is like a 10 by 20 dog kennel for a human.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's your like yard time, like when you're in solitary, because you have to be allowed to have it, but you can't roam the yard because you're considered dangerous. So you're literally in a 10 by 20 like dog kennel.
So how'd you get a trash bag in there if you can't interact?
So usually there's someone who is like the better of the group, right? Or has been there the longest.
Yeah.
Usually gets like promoted to the person who cleans up after dinner and stuff, or the meals. So they've got access to trash bags, other items that you might need to do stuff with, or kites, past and stuff.
Gotcha.
So you get creative.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's some smart dudes in there. Like, I mean, if they applied themselves, if they applied themselves to the stock market and like trading, I mean, they would all be millionaires.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, like how like just there's a lot of brilliant people in there just wasting away, which sucks. And it's because they can't break the cycle themselves, or the system is just set up to capture them, right?
Yeah.
Like I was talking to a friend I met here at the gym, who said he was the first person who ever said I inspired him, and that was kind of cool. And he almost died from COVID like recently, but he got out. He made it, and so now he's back, like pursuing his dream and stuff, which is cool. But he oh man, I totally forgot where I was going with that.
Oh, it's okay. It happens to us all of the time.
Yeah, quite frequently.
Normally we just stop the recording and then restart it when we remember it.
40's got me tripping, man. 40's got me tripping. I'm like, what?
Let's see. We were talking about hierarchy and like if someone's been there a long enough time, and let's see. You were at the gym. There was something you said right before that though.
Yeah, that's what like sparked a memory. Anywho, maybe it'll come back to me.
Perfect.
So you get out. So you get out of prison.
Okay.
And
Fast
then
forward out of prison.
Fast forward out of prison. Then where do you go?
I can't. So this is the lamest thing in the world. I almost was not released on my release date because I gave my address as my house, but my brother used the address as the house, and he's a felon. So two felons can't live together, even if you're brothers. Oh. So I had to find a halfway house to live at. Interesting. And it turns out that he had to go to one, court mandated coming out of prison. So he called the one up that he was at, and they made room for me, which was cool. So I got to get out on time and didn't have to sit there and wait 3-4 weeks till they figured something out for me, which was cool. Well, I
assume that there's rules in the halfway house as well.
Yeah, it's just like a sober living house, basically.
Okay.
That's what it is. So like some dudes are trying to work the program. Most are just kind of, whatever, biding their time until they can get out of there. Some are looking for jobs, doing, or one kid, he was there, he'd been living there for like 6-8 months. And like, he works at he works as a bartender or a waiter at like the Paris or something like that, But yeah, so it was like, you met dudes from all walks of life, right? So it's a lot more druggy type people than anything else. But yeah, every once in a while I come across a stockbroker, or high level security employee or something like that,
Wow.
Yeah, if you end up drunk driving and stuff, Nevada's got weird stuff, right? So like, we have 40 million plus people a year coming here. There's like a gnarly percentage of those people come on vacation and leave on probation. And that's like the saying, like, I went to Vegas on vacation and came back home on probation because you got into trouble out here, and then that shit carries you all the way home.
always
Wow.
seemed, I've only been to Las Vegas once, but yeah, it was one of those things where I just assumed that people kind of just didn't notice when things happened, but it doesn't sound like it.
No, I mean, I had a buddy of mine from Australia. He comes out and stays with me, like part of the year, like for multiple months at a time. But he just travels around and does his thing out here in the States. And then, I mean, he's been like arrested. I don't know. He's been arrested more times in Nevada than I have.
And how did you get into the stock market?
I got into the stock market because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life instead of sitting on the couch and eating food in front of the TV every day and gaining weight. So I was talking to my therapist, which is, court ordered for my parole. And he was like, well, check out this stock trading group. So he let me log into his account and, peruse the site and the chat rooms and that stuff.
Very
All right.
cool.
Yeah. So then I took my stimulus money, my unemployment, and that was paying my monthly fee all from June of 2020 all the way till like, sometime in 2021.
Okay.
And I had a couple extra bucks. One of my buddies who worked with me at my business, he took care of my business while I was gone and kind of shut everything down. So he had a bunch of cash for me when I got out. And so I took literally the last like $2,000 I had and then put that into the stock market and started to learn how to trade.
Were you in the morning group, the afternoon group, or both groups?
I was in both.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to
And
learn
you
everything.
and you were successful, very successful.
Yeah. I was very successful. I made like, I turned the $2,000 into almost, I sold some equipment and kind of got that numbered up to like 8-10 grand, like actual cash. But by the end of the year, I had almost $100,000. So like in 6 months time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Was any of it in futures or was that all in stocks? Did you do any options?
Stocks, options, and then towards the end of the year, I was doing futures.
Okay. And then when did you get into crypto?
I got into, well, I mean, I was into crypto before I went to prison. I started doing that like, I want to say like August or September. I put like $400 over there and then like turned it into like 10,000.
That's stellar.
Yeah. I mean, it was easy, like, and that's not because I'm like some all awesome knowing trader, right? The market was so easy to trade. Like we just had this gigantic crash from COVID and the markets were going straight up, right? For almost a full year. So all you had to do was buy something and wait a week and then sell it. Buy something, wait a week and then sell it.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. When did you start getting into your exercise or your triathlon? How did that all come about?
So I kind of found my new passion of trading, right? And so that was like step one. And I took Svetlana's dream course. And one of my goals, was like to get back healthy again and, start doing, physical activities and stuff. And so I had kind of slowly just started walking, around the block, a couple times a week. And then I was like, I joined like an Orange Theory Fitness because Caesar, one of the guys I met in Charlotte, had a friend out here that was going there, and like we were hanging out when he was in town. So I ended up going with her to the gym a bunch. And then in Miami, me, Joseph, Matt, Jeremy, Sochi, Svetlana, like a bunch of us, we're all right at the same gateway, getting ready to leave to our respective planes, and we were chit-chatting and stuff. And then we were talking about me getting healthier and the changes and stuff. And so Matt suggested, well, why don't we just do like a triathlon in Vegas, and like a sprint distance triathlon. I was like, all right, cool, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then Joseph chimes in and goes, why don't we just do an Olympic? And I'm like, I mean, I guess, sure, dude. Like, I mean, I'd done one before, right? I had done a sprint and an Olympic already. So like I knew what I was getting into. Matt had never done one and Joseph had never done one.
Had you done one recently or in your younger days?
When I was younger, I did one in 2012, I think, or 2009.
Okay, so a few years ago.
Yeah. So
Okay.
because I was always athletic, right? I was always physical and playing some kind of sport. I played hockey 4 nights a week out here, like adult beer league.
So you knew what it took.
I knew what it took to finish the races. So I was golden. Like I was all right, cool, I could do this. I was definitely like a good 90 something pounds heavier than I was when I did it the first two times. But I figured I had 6-7 months to train for it. So like I could definitely do something, right, to get myself ready for it. So I'd already kind of been training, and I had lost, I think by March I had lost like 5 or 10 pounds. So like I was down to like 275 at that point. And then I just started to kick it into high gear. And by the time the race came around, I think I was like 225, right around there. And I did okay on the race. I mean, I probably could have done better, but just like David, one of the guys who did the race with us, he hurt his leg. So I walked the run with him, and then Joseph caught up to us, and then the three of us crossed the finish line at the same time. Hopefully in September, I'll be healthy enough to do the Chattanooga Ironman.
Oh,
Where?
wow.
And my brother and his girlfriend are doing that.
Oh,
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
When did they start training?
When did they?
Yeah.
Oh, they've been training for years. They like do this all the time. Yeah. I don't think they've stopped training in 5 years.
Yeah, like Joseph's like, you probably shouldn't do that, dude. I'm like, because
Yeah.
my body's been so beat up from all the stuff I did at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, but I already said I would do it, and I'm raising money for St. Baldrick's for
Yeah.
kids cancer research. So it's like I kind of have to, do something.
Yeah.
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 So
I mean, they just enjoy this kind of stuff. So
it's fun. It's
I mean,
challenging. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I did my first half, and I was only training for an Olympic like 30 days after I did the Olympic. It was probably not the best idea, but I made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, still, you know your body, and you know exactly where to push it to. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us about your new businesses.
So new businesses.
Keeping you very busy.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. It's I literally feel like it's like 2015, 2016 again, and I'm working like 80 to 100 hours a week, and there's no end in sight. And like that's what I told myself, like I never wanted to go back to, like getting out of prison. And I was just like, I'm over all that stuff. Like trading was perfect. Like, working maybe 15, 20 hours a week, if that, and then going to the gym for 3 hours a day and relaxing the rest of the time, and traveling and do whatever else. So now it's me, Joseph, and another have started a Bitcoin mine. And so that's like in full swing now. Now we're adding, reselling the machines, and basically those two just got to dump like way more work on me. That's my side of the business. So, and then there's Crypto Whisperer, which is Joseph's new business. So I'm a part of that as well. We were going to do like kind of a few different joint things, but now we kind of rolled a bunch of stuff up into one. And so that's a lot larger project than CIL, I would say. And there's like 4 of us involved in that one. And I'm in charge of like all the branding, social media, and optimization, and basically getting the stuff ready to go out in front of the people and bring people through the door.
Okay.
And they kind of already had like the website built by the time like I was coming on to help. So I'm like, all right, so like none of that stuff has been optimized, and so you have to go back to it. It's a pain in the butt kind of to like rework stuff like that, but makes the job a little bit harder, but it'll be rewarding in the end, because it'll be once it's optimized, it's easier to market. So creating a bunch of artwork for that, working on the website, but then as well we're creating content, building landing pages. Just there's a lot of stuff for that going on.
Well, I don't think you would have gotten into it if you didn't have the drive, the motivation. What drives you to continue to do the crazy things that you said you wouldn't do again, but here you are?
Because I like creating stuff from scratch. And like the deal almost kind of blew up. So like me and Joseph were going to do our own thing over here, and he had Crypto Whisperer over there, right? And it turns out that like the gal that he was working with said, well, let's do this, and this. He's like, okay, cool. And he's like, oh, we're doing this stuff. Oh, that's cool. Well, then what are we going to do with this? Well, because we were kind of doing a chat and just crypto based and some other stuff. Well, she wants that rolled up into that. Okay, well, let's make the two businesses. He's keeping Crypto Whisper over here, which is just basically an education platform, right? And then over here we have the Discord or WhatsApp or whatever, right? So we're building membership-based programs to coach people in crypto. It's just it gets too convoluted, right? Because we have a partnership over here with me, Joseph, and then this gal, April, and the guy who developed the website. So they say, no, we're not going to do that. Joseph's kind of stalling, and he's meeting with CFOs and all these high-level people, and he's coached a couple of people from Hollywood and done much stuff. So it's really like moving along, right? Like he's getting his name out there, notoriety. Both these kind of contacts, one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast, are really pumping him up, and he's doing a lot. So it's going to be a big deal. And she goes, we just need to wrap that up into one because we want to find investors. This is going to look better this way. It's going to be cleaner. We got to cut people's percentages of what they're going to get. And Joseph had thought that we were in a profit sharing deal. And I was like, look, no harm, no foul. But if I don't have an actual percentage of the company, then I don't want to I don't want to do anything with it. Like, I'll help you with the branding and stuff, and you can pay me for that, but you're going to pay the regular rate, like $1,000 an hour, and I'll consult for you. And he's like, all right, cool. Then he went and talked to April, and he goes, look, I don't know exactly what he said, but basically he came back and he said, okay, hey, you can have 25% of the company. I'm like, all right, cool. Because I don't want to work for something that I'm not a part of, that I don't own and have a say in, right? For me, at this point in my life, it's like, if I'm going to be giving my all for something, it's got to be something that I own, right? And so I created a ton of stuff. Joseph didn't really know, like, how, I guess, to his words, how good I was at my job. Because he never seen anything that I did, right? Like, I mean, I don't have awards and artworks, lying around my office and stuff, right? It's just most of that stuff's gone. So when he saw like the business cards I created and the landing page and all this other stuff that I did for him, he's like, okay, you're legit at doing all this stuff. All right, cool. I'm glad you're involved. And so I was kind of helping him, like mentoring him with business and stuff, because he wasn't super, he didn't know a ton about business, but he knows a ton about crypto, right? So just making sure he gets a good deal, and everything's on the up and up, and we're full speed ahead.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, there's always bumps in the road. We typically try to, talk about the good stuff, and then we also talk about the barriers and some of those crucial conversations that you have to have in business, and your partnership, and just making sure everybody's on the same page. And
yeah, we
it
kind of
sounds
had
like
that.
you've gone through
Yeah,
the
we kind of had that
whole.
come to God conversation last week, because I already knew that it was happening, because I already heard how this gal was talking, right? That's kind of mentoring Joseph and helping him on the other side.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm fine with that. Like, instead of getting 20%, I'm getting 6%, vested. But it's like of a lot larger company, right? It's like, maybe a possible couple million to a possible couple $100 million,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah,
I'm fine with that, right?
you've got to save your assets.
Yeah, so it works for me. And then it's not going to be like I'm having to work for the company full time the rest of my life. I'll be a coach sometimes, and then doing a couple of videos here and there, right, for courses and stuff.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that, because I get to do artwork, I get to do marketing, build it basically from scratch, and just jam people into some lead funnels and get clients at the door.
Really rewarding to be able to see like your company when it starts, and then like 5 years later where it all has come to. And that's awesome that you get to have your hand in like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'm super, like, CIL's kind of taken off. So we got like possible investors for that want to give millions of dollars, which is cool. And then Crypto Whisper, we basically set the company up so it looks good for investors. That was the whole point of taking the hypothetical pay cut. But at least this way now I get a salary, right? So like, I won't be doing the work for free for the company. I'll be getting a salary, and then my percentage, which is cool. Because you definitely need money for marketing. I mean, I can definitely do it with $0, and it'll grow. It just grows slower.
Mhm.
Right. And if you want to ramp something up and just kind of, because there's one or two other people that are kind of out there doing this, but there's no one that's really like super successful and has cornered the market yet. So that's kind of like our goal, is to just jump out ahead of everybody and use that Crypto Whisperer name.
It's a good name.
Yeah,
Very
and
catchy.
branded the heck out of it. So yeah, I designed the hats.
Yeah. So is this something long-term that you'd like to be able to take to like teach other people about, like in prison too?
Yeah, so I volunteer with another thing that I did when I got out was I tried to obviously make myself look good for the PO, but as well as find a gig in the meantime, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I ended up going to Hope for Prisoners, which is a program that helps those that are getting released on parole like reintegrate back into society. So like they teach them how to like interview, build skills, talk, make eye contact, like give them a suit, kind of pump them up, right? You go through this week-long course, and you got to be like sober, willing to work it. They help you. Like some people don't know how to open up checking accounts or use computers, or never had a checking account before. So they help them do all that kind of stuff, normal stuff that normal folks do, right? That they don't because they were criminals. One of the dudes that was in my my graduating class, he was like, he'd been in prison since he was 14, and I think at this point he was like 50 something. So like he never had ever had laid a hand on a cell phone.
That's
right?
wild. It's like,
Yeah, like didn't know what it was, like how music worked anymore. Like I think they had cassettes, he had cassette tapes, right? Like so crazy. Didn't know what CDs and DVDs and stuff were.
wow.
So I graduated there, and so I just signed up to be a mentor. So now I help them, the guys getting out, right? I kind of help their like extra guy that they can talk to and kind of lean on for advice, or help them out with whatever's going on in their life. So I talked to them like I'm supposed to get signed up with one here any minute because they just had a graduation, and then I'll be chatting with that guy a couple times a week.
I think that's great for them to see, like, have a mentor that's been
I'm the only one that's ever done it. So
yeah.
I'm surprised that no one else has come back. I mean, there's other guys that like come to the graduations and stuff, but so I'm excited to do it. And then my goal is to use the futures trading and the OPM traders trading platforms and get one of them to sign up to giving them like the data to back trade unlimited without having to pay for back trading, because some of them make you pay for back trading. And then with that, maybe possibly donating like one or two, like a month-long membership, right? That you normally pay for, donate one of those, and then donate like one or two resets, right? To give them a chance at a funded account. Because it's not much sweat off of their back really. And then they'll make the money if they can trade the account, right? But they would have to go through like some kind of, course teaching, and then a period of time of keeping the account in the green before they get the chance to do that. So
Gotcha.
that's my goal, to work with one of them to do that.
Yeah, I don't know that I caught the last business for your marketing.
Oh, sales@nimblepromo.com.
Sales at Nimble Promo.
Yeah, NIMBL promo.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's for branding, marketing.
I started that business when I got out of prison, just so it looked like I was doing something.
That is so awesome that you are able to go to all of these conferences, you get to travel the world, and you've just been so successful at trading and making opportunities that you have quite the lifestyle.
Oh yeah, and I've traveled the world. I've been to like 5 continents.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've lived a few lifetimes, to say.
You
So
have
if I
lived
did-
a few.
If I did die randomly, don't feel sorry for me, because I definitely had a lot of good times on Earth.
You're young, so you have still so much time left to go.
Oh yeah, I mean we're trying to change the world. So
How can our listeners get a hold of you?
listeners can hit me up at ross@tradesliquid.com, or they can look up Right Way Wrong Way Conway on Instagram, or Right Way Wrong Way Conway on YouTube, or Trades Liquid on YouTube. Or
I did
sales
subscribe the other day to Trades Liquid on YouTube.
Nice. Or
Yes.
sales@nimblepromo.com if they're interested in hiring me for branding. But it is $1,000 an hour.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ross.
Awesome.
All right. To our listeners, stay awesome.
And keep reaching for your anything.